Imagine making one decision, like right at the very start of your career. That could potentially add, get this, over $1 million to your lifetime earnings.
It sounds kind of incredible, doesn't it? Almost too good to be true.
Exactly. But for many folks, especially, in tech and IT, it's actually a very real possibility. And it's all linked to one crucial skill.
And that's what we're digging into today.
Yeah, today we're unpacking exactly that. A really critical skill for anyone launching or, navigating their professional journey in tech and IT. We're diving deep into Chapter 5 of Launching Your Tech Career, a professional development guide for MIS, CIS, and IT graduates. It's by Dr. Joseph H.Schuessler.
A great resource.
Absolutely. Our mission today is basically to pull out the most impactful insights on mastering salary negotiation and, just as important, effective interview follow-up.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how often bright new graduates, they leave significant value on the table just by not engaging with this process.
Right. They're maybe a bit scared or unsure.
Exactly. So we'll show you why advocating for yourself right from day one, it's not just about the money. I mean, the money's great, but it's also about professional growth, confidence, and really setting a positive path for your whole career.
Okay, so if you find these insights valuable for your own career journey, or maybe you know someone getting ready to enter the workforce, please do share this deep dive with them.
Yeah, definitely pass it along.
And don't forget to follow the deep dive wherever you get your audio. That way you never miss out on these essential knowledge shortcuts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Why is salary negotiation such a big deal, especially early in your career when, honestly, it can feel a little intimidating?
Oh, it absolutely can feel intimidating, yeah. But the financial impact, it's truly staggering, and I think it's often underestimated. Consider this. There was one analysis, right? It showed an entry-level employee who negotiated just $5,000 more in starting pay.
Okay, just 5K.
Just FDLK. And then, crucially, continued to negotiate periodic raises over their career. They could earn over $1 million more by retirement than a peer who just, took the first offer and didn't negotiate later on either.
Wow, $1 million over a career. That's a remarkable figure. It really shows the long-term hit, doesn't it?
Precisely. That's the power of compounding,
Well,
Your starting salary, it sort of sets the baseline, the trajectory for all your future pay increases.
So it echoes throughout your entire career.
Absolutely. And, like I said, it's not just about the immediate cash. Negotiation, when done right, shows confidence. It shows professionalism. And look at the stats. Surveys show something like 85% of U.S. employers actually expect you to negotiate salary. They're ready for it.
85%. So they're anticipating this conversation.
Right. But here's the kicker, the surprising part. About 55% of candidates don't even try. They just accept.
Over half. So more than half are just leaving potential money on the table without even asking.
Exactly. Without even making an attempt.
Okay, but you mentioned, that 55% don't try. Is there a risk, maybe, of appearing too aggressive? Or, I don't know, greedy, especially for a new grad? Where's the line between confident and maybe off-putting?
That's a great question, and it's a really common fear. But actually, the data strongly suggests the opposite is true. Around 70 to 73% of those who do negotiate end up getting higher pay.
70% success rate, okay.
Yeah, pretty good odds. And for those worried about, the nightmare scenario of the offer being pulled back, the risk is incredibly low. We're talking only about 6% of job offers fall through after someone tries to negotiate.
Only 6%. That's much lower than I would have guessed.
It is. The key really is how you negotiate. Be confident, yes, but not demanding. You're advocating for your value based on research, not just making ultimatums.
Okay, so it's not just about today's paycheck then. It's your whole career arc. It influences future raises, promotions, even how future employers see your value down the line.
It absolutely is. I mean, think about it. Higher compensation often leads to greater financial stability, sure, but also motivation. And it affects the perception of your professional value. Your salary history, whether we like it or not, frequently dictates future offers.
So what influences these decisions from the employer side? What are they looking at?
Well, a bunch of things. Obviously, your experience, your education, your specific skill set. The role itself and its level within the company's budget, naturally, the industry norms, the location cost of living makes a big difference, and also your leverage, like how in demand are your skills, and importantly, your BTNA.
BTNA.
Yeah, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Basically, do you have another job offer? That gives you significant leverage.
Right, okay. That makes sense. So here's where it gets really interesting, I think. You can't just pull a number out of thin air, right? Effective negotiation, it has to start with solid research. What are the best resources for, figuring out your actual worth?
You're spot on. Information is absolutely power here. You need to be able to confidently talk about what a competitive offer looks like for someone with your specific skills in your industry and, importantly, in your desired location. A prime resource, kind of the gold standard for government data, is the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics,
Mm.
BLS, specifically their Occupational Outlook Handbook.
Ah, yes, the ooh, ooh.
Exactly. It gives you official median pay data for hundreds and hundreds of roles.
Mm.
For example, the median annual wage for computer and IT jobs was around $104,420 back in 2023. Compare that to about $48,060 for all jobs combined.
Big difference.
Huge difference. So it's great for getting baseline figures and understanding job demand trends in the field.
Okay, that's a solid government source for the big picture. But what about, more granular data, maybe for specific companies or cities?
Yeah, for that kind of detail, you want to turn to sites like Glassdoor. It's crowdsourced, right? So it offers salary info by job title, company, and location, reported by actual employees. So if you're looking at, say, a software engineer role in the U.S., Glassdoor might show a median base salary around $118,800 a year, maybe total pay closer to $163,000 with bonuses and stock.
So that helps you narrow it down considerably.
Definitely. It helps you refine your range based on your local market and even specific target companies. But, remember to look at multiple data points. Salaries can vary quite a bit, even within the same city or company.
And LinkedIn, that's such a central hub for professionals now. Do they offer salary insights too?
They do, yeah. LinkedIn Salary Insights is another great one. It aggregates detailed compensation data directly from its members. You can filter by job title, location, industry. You can often see typical salary ranges and even breakdowns of base versus bonus or stock. This data really arms you to position your ask within a, well-researched range.
Does it cost anything? Or do you have to share your own data?
Sometimes, it might require you to input your own salary data anonymously to get full access. But honestly, it's usually a worthwhile trade-off for the quality of insights you get back.
Okay. Any other crucial sources, particularly for the tech field?
Oh, absolutely. Always keep an eye out for industry salary reports. Things like the Dice Tech Salary Report, for instance. It comes out annually, tracks trends specifically for tech pros. Like in 2023, it showed the average U.S. tech salary was hovering around $111,000. These reports are great because they can show you if salaries are generally rising or maybe flattening in your specific niche, and crucially, which skills are commanding premium pay.
Right, like cybersecurity or AI skills might be hotter right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't forget other useful sites like Indeed Salary Search, PayScale, Salary.com. Even professional associations sometimes publish salary surveys for their members. The more data points you gather, the more confident and prepared you'll be.
So, okay, let's say for someone like an MIS or CIS grad, maybe they're looking at a systems analyst I role. They'd be pulling data from these sources, adjusting for their city, right? And aiming to figure out an average, maybe a high end they could shoot for, and definitely a low end walkaway point.
That's precisely it. That process is truly knowing your worth. It's the foundation for everything else.
Got it. Knowing your worth is the foundation. Now, negotiation isn't just about the numbers, is it? You mentioned it's also kind of a psychological game. What are these principles you mentioned that can give our listeners an edge?
Yeah, it really is both an art and a science. And our source material actually references Dr. Robert Cialdini's classic work on persuasion. He identified 6 fundamental principles, and they can be applied ethically and really effectively to salary discussions. Understanding them gives you a bit of a strategic edge in how you communicate.
Okay, intriguing. What's the first one?
First up is reciprocity. Think give to get, or you scratch my back, If you've already gone above and beyond, maybe through outstanding work in an internship, bringing relevant certifications they value, you should definitely highlight that. It subtly creates a sense, maybe an obligation, for the employer to reciprocate with a stronger offer, acknowledging the extra value you're already bringing.
Ah, so you're showing them you've already invested and hoping they'll be more inclined to invest back in you. Makes sense.
Exactly. Next is scarcity. Basically, value the rare. People tend to be more motivated by things they perceive as hard to obtain or unique. So you want to frame your specific skills and experiences as unique assets. If you hold rare certifications, maybe like an AWS cloud practitioner or CISSP, or you have skills in cutting-edge tech that's crucial for their specific projects, Emphasize that. You're not bragging, you're just underscoring your unique value proposition, making yourself seem like a scarce and valuable resource.
Right, highlighting what makes you stand out from the crowd.
Precisely. Third principle, authority. Data and expertise persuade. Don't just walk in and say, well, I feel I deserve more money. You need to support your case with credible, authoritative data. This is where your research comes in. Cite the BLS numbers, Glassdoor ranges, industry reports you found. You could even tactfully mention other offers you might have, or perhaps what classmates in very similar roles are earning. It serves as external validation, adding weight to your proposal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It shifts it from a personal plea to more of a data-backed business proposal, less emotional.
Exactly. Much more professional. Then we have consistency, or commitment. The idea here is to align with prior statements or commitments the company or interviewer has made. People generally like to act in ways that are consistent with what they've previously said or valued.
Okay, how does that work in practice?
Well, if the interviewer spent time talking about how much they value innovation or how they want to attract the best talent, you can gently frame your salary request in that light.
Yeah.
Something like, given the level of responsibility you've described for this role and your stated commitment to bringing in top talent, I was hoping we could discuss adjusting the salary to more closely match those expectations.
Subtly holding them to their own words. Clever.
Gently, yes. Fifth principle, liking. It sounds simple, but personal connections matter. People are just more easily persuaded by individuals they genuinely like. So building rapport throughout the entire interview process is actually key. Be friendly, be respectful, be collaborative, find some genuine common ground if you can. Then, during the negotiation itself, maintain that pleasant, collaborative tone. Avoid making it adversarial. If the hiring manager likes you, they're often more willing to become your advocate internally to get you what you want.
Yeah, nobody wants to fight for someone they found difficult or unpleasant.
Right. And finally, number 6 is social proof or consensus. Basically, the idea that others are doing it. People often look to their peers or industry standards to decide what's appropriate or acceptable. So, you can tactfully reference common practices or benefits in the industry. I've noticed many tech firms in this area are now offering hybrid work options and flexible schedules as part of the standard package. Is that something we might be able to consider here? It shows your request isn't outlandish, but actually aligned with market trends, nudging them to stay competitive.
So it's like using peer pressure, but in a professional way.
In a way, yes. By combining these principles ethically, you create a really powerful argument that goes far beyond just asking for more money. It's about effectively demonstrating your value and understanding the underlying psychology of the conversation.
Okay, so you've done your homework, you know your worth, you understand these principles. Now, how do you actually do it? Like, what does the conversation actually look like in practice?
Right, this is where the rubber meets the road. First off, timing and setting are absolutely crucial. The best time, the only time really, to negotiate salary seriously is after you have an official written job offer in hand.
Not before, even if they ask early on.
Ideally, no. Before you have the offer, you have much less leverage. If salary comes up in an early screening call, try to defer it politely. You can say something like, I'd really prefer to learn more about the specifics of the role and the responsibilities first, to make sure it's a great fit before discussing specific compensation numbers.
Okay, defer until the offer. Makes sense.
Exactly. Once that offer is made, your first reaction should always be enthusiasm. Express genuine excitement, but then always ask for a bit of time to review it thoroughly. A day or two is perfectly reasonable.
Don't feel pressured to accept on the spot.
Never. Use that time to calm down, review your research, and plan your counteroffer strategy.
Okay, so you've taken your day, you're ready. How do you open the negotiation? Phone call? Email?
Either can work, though a phone call often allows for more nuance and back and forth. But regardless of the medium, always lead with appreciation and enthusiasm. Start with something positive, like, thank you so much again for the offer. I'm genuinely excited about the opportunity to join the team at XYZ Company. I've had a chance to review the details, and I'd love to discuss the compensation package specifically.
So, positive start, then pivot.
Right. Praise something in the offer first, maybe the benefits or the project scope, then smoothly transition. I was particularly hoping we could discuss the base salary. Based on my research into similar roles in this area and considering my specific skills and mention a key skill, I was actually expecting something closer to the XXXXX range. Be specific and briefly remind them why you're worth it.
And what about the communication style during this chat? How do you stay confident without, sounding demanding or arrogant.
Yeah, that's the tightrope walk. You need to be confident, absolutely, but not aggressive. Use I statements focused on your value and market data. Avoid ultimatums like, I need X or I'm walking away.
So, more collaborative.
Exactly. Phrase it as a collaborative ask. Is there any flexibility to perhaps reach $85,000, given my qualifications and the market rate? Asking questions also helps a lot. Could you tell me a bit more about the salary band you typically have for this level of role? It shows you're listening, you're reasonable, and you're looking for a win-win solution.
Okay. And what about counteroffer tactics? Should you ask for exactly what you want or aim higher?
Generally, it's wise to aim slightly higher than your true target salary. This gives you some room to compromise and still land where you're happy. So if they offered 65K and you'd be genuinely happy with 70K, maybe you counter at 75K.
Gives them room to meet you in the middle, maybe.
Precisely. And always justify your counter number with your skills, your experience, the market data you gathered. Never ever base it on personal financial needs like student loans or rent. It's just not relevant to them.
Keep it professional, focused on value.
Right. And one more key tactic.
Right.
Try to bundle your requests if you have more than one. It's generally better to say, based on my research, I was hoping we could adjust the salary to 75K and perhaps also add an extra week of vacation to align with industry standards, all in one conversation. Don't negotiate salary, get a yes, then come back asking for more vacation, addresses the whole package up front.
Okay, bundle it up. Got it. And what if they resist? Or just say flat out no?
That happens. The key is to maintain professionalism throughout. If you sense resistance or give you a reason like budget constraints, you can politely probe a little. Okay, I understand. Is there perhaps any room at all to move closer to that number? I'm very excited about this role and would love to make this work.
So one gentle pushback.
Maybe one, yeah. But if the answer is a firm no, you need to have already decided your walkaway point. If their final offer is acceptable, great. If not, you decline gracefully. Don't take the denial personally. Thank them sincerely for considering your request and for the offer itself. Even if they couldn't meet your number, they might still have slightly improved the original offer based on the conversation.
And the most important final step.
Get everything in writing. Any changes to salary, bonus, vacation, start date, anything must be documented in an updated official offer letter before you formally accept. Verbal agreements are just too risky.
Absolutely critical. And these strategies, this whole approach, it really applies directly to the kind of career readiness and professional growth goals you'd focus on in, say, a course like BCIS 4385. It's about being strategic, composed, and professional.
Exactly right. It's a core professional skill.
Okay, let's say you've tried, but the base salary just hits a hard ceiling. They say, look, this is the max for this level. Is that the end of the line? Or is there anything else you can negotiate for, especially, in the tech world?
Oh, absolutely not the end of the line. That's a common misconception. Base salary is often the main focus, yeah, but just one single piece of your total compensation package. If the base pay is genuinely capped, pivot. Start negotiating other valuable items.
Like what, for example?
Well, beyond the base salary, you have things like signing bonuses. These are one-time payments, great for bridging a gap if the base isn't quite what you hoped for, or covering relocation costs. Just make sure you clarify any conditions, like repayment if you leave within a year.
Okay, sign-on bonus. Good one.
Then there are performance or retention bonuses. You might ask to be included in the company's annual bonus program from day one, or maybe negotiate a guaranteed bonus for your first year, or even a lump sum bonus for staying with the company for a specific period, like 18 or 24 months.
Interesting. What else?
Paid time off, PTO, and vacation. This is often more negotiable than people think, especially if the salary is fixed. An extra week of vacation can be a huge quality of life perk.
Yeah.
Flexible work schedule or full remote work. This is massive in tech right now. Some studies suggest like 40% of tech workers would actually take a pay cut for more flexibility. So definitely explore this. Just make sure you clarify the company's policies on remote work, including any potential location-based pay adjustments, and maybe ask about a stipend for your home office setup.
Yeah, the remote work piece is huge now.
It really is. Also, think about health insurance and benefits. Maybe you could negotiate an earlier start date for coverage or clarify details about the plans. Retirement contributions, like getting match contributions sooner, and tuition reimbursement or professional development funds, ask if they'll pay for certifications like a PMP, CIS-SP, or AWS Cloud Cert, or even help with a master's degree down the line.
Wow. Okay. Lots of options there.
And don't forget smaller things like equipment or travel stipends, and even your job title or role level. Maybe they can't offer more money for Analyst I, but could they perhaps bring you in as Analyst 2 if your qualifications warrant it? That title bump can have significant long-term salary implications and looks better to future recruiters.
That's a really good point about the title.
The key is to figure out what matters most to you beyond the base salary and prioritize those asks if the main number is firm.
Right. So much more than just the number on the offer letter. Now, what about those tech industry-specific negotiation challenges you mentioned earlier? What's unique there?
Yeah, the tech and information systems field definitely has its own quirks when it comes to negotiation. Firstly, equity and stock options. This is super common, especially in startups, but also in big tech firms like Google or Amazon.
Right. RSUs and options, it can be confusing.
It can be. You might get stock options or RSUs, restricted stock units. You really need to understand the details, the type of equity, the number of shares or units, the strike price if it's options, and critically, the vesting schedule, how long you have to stay before you actually own it.
And can you negotiate that?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
You might be able to negotiate for more shares or perhaps a shorter vesting period, maybe accelerating some vesting to the first year. It's often higher risk than cash, but potentially very high reward down the line.
Okay, equity is a big one. What else is tech specific?
Well, we touched on it, but the whole remote work and location-based pay issue is huge in tech. Many companies now adjust your salary based on the cost of living in your specific location. So if you're moving from, say, San Francisco to a lower cost area, but keeping the same job remotely, they might want to adjust your pay down.
Can you fight that?
You can try. You might negotiate to maintain your salary by emphasizing your high performance and value, regardless of location. Or you could negotiate for a dedicated remote work stipend to cover home office costs. Clarity up front is key here.
Gotcha.
Then there's startup culture and titles. In early-stage startups, titles can be pretty fluid. If you're joining one, it might be worth negotiating for clarity on your role's growth path, or perhaps pushing for more impactful title from the start, like lead developer, instead of just engineer, if it accurately reflects your responsibilities.
Right, titles can matter a lot, especially for your next job search.
They really can. In big tech, the compensation structure is often quite rigid. You'll typically get a base salary, an annual performance bonus target, and an annual stock refresher grant. Because the base salary bands for levels are often quite fixed, your best bet for negotiation in big tech is usually focusing on the initial equity grant and any sign-on bonus they offer.
Focus negotiation on the one-time or initial grant components.
Often, yes. Also, think about negotiating work conditions. Especially in roles like IT support or DevOps, that's the team bridging software development and IT operations, you might have significant on-call rotations or after-hours duties.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you could try negotiating a specific on-call stipend or maybe guaranteed review periods for those responsibilities.
Okay, that's a good point about on-call.
And one last thing, particularly for tech creatives or developers, intellectual property and side projects. It's crucial to check the employment contract language carefully. Does the company claim ownership of everything you create, even on your own time? If you have significant pre-existing side projects, you might need to negotiate specific carve-outs or exceptions for those.
Wow, yeah, that could be a huge deal for some people. This really shows how understanding the specific tech landscape, which is a key part of, a program like BCIS 4285, really pays off when you get to the offer stage. You have to tailor your requests.
Absolutely. Negotiating with a startup is very different from negotiating with a Fortune 500 tech giant. Context matters.
Okay, so let's say you've gone through the interviews, you've maybe even negotiated the offer successfully. Is that it? Are you done?
Absolutely not. The impression you leave after the main event, so to speak, can open doors or close them down the line. Professionalism needs to continue.
So how do we keep that positive momentum going? What's the follow-up look like?
Well, one really simple but incredibly impactful action is sending thank you notes after interviews. And I mean every interview stage, and to each person who interviewed you.
Within what time frame?
Ideally within 24 hours. Why does it matter? Well, it shows basic appreciation and courtesy, obviously, but it also keeps you fresh in their mind. It reinforces your genuine interest in the role, and honestly, it helps you stand out. Our source material actually highlights a Robert Half survey suggesting 27% of hiring managers are more likely to favor candidates who send a thank you note.
Wow, over a quarter. That's a significant edge for such a simple step. What should these notes actually include? Keep it brief.
Yeah, definitely keep it relatively short, maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs, and
Yeah.
make it genuine. Start with gratitude. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me yesterday. Then, crucially, include a specific reference from your conversation that shows you are actually listening and engaged.
Like mentioning a project they discussed.
Exactly. Something like, I especially enjoyed discussing the upcoming CRM implementation project and thinking about how my experience with Salesforce could contribute. Then, just briefly reiterate your enthusiasm for the role and why you think you're a good fit. Always proofread it carefully and send a separate personalized note to each interviewer. Don't just CC everyone on the same generic message.
Okay, personalized and prompt. Good advice. And this applies after negotiation, too.
Absolutely. Even if you've just had a negotiation call, a quick follow-up email thanking them for discussing the offer further and reiterating your excitement keeps the communication positive and professional.
Makes sense. Now, beyond just sending notes to others, what about reflecting for yourself?
Oh, reflecting on your performance after any interview or negotiation session is incredibly valuable for your own growth. Take 5 minutes afterwards. Ask yourself, what went really well? What questions maybe caught me off guard? What could I improve for next time?
Like keeping a little interview journal.
Kind of, yeah. Jot down some notes. Maybe you realize you fumbled explaining a technical concept, or you needed a stronger example for the STAR method situation: task, action, result. Identify those areas, and then you can proactively prepare better for the next opportunity. This kind of continuous self-review and improvement is exactly what professional development is all about.
That's a great habit to build early on. And finally, what about building and maintaining those relationships with recruiters, hiring managers, even if you don't get the job this time, or maybe you turn down their offer?
Yes, maintaining positive relationships is paramount. The tech and business world, especially within certain niches or cities, can be surprisingly small and interconnected. People move around. So, if you accept an offer, great. Stay in touch politely before your start date. Maybe connect on LinkedIn once it's appropriate. If you decide to decline an offer, do it gracefully. A phone call is often best, followed by a polite email. Thank them sincerely for the offer and their time. Provide a concise professional reason, no need for lengthy explanations, and make it clear you appreciate the opportunity and want to keep the bridge intact. You never know when your paths might cross again.
Right, don't burn bridges.
Never. And what if you're the one who gets rejected? Don't just ghost them. Reply professionally to the rejection email. Thank them for considering you. Express appreciation for learning about the company, and you can even politely ask them to keep you in mind for future openings that might be a better fit, or sometimes even ask for brief feedback if they're open to providing it.
Shows maturity and professionalism, even in disappointment.
Exactly. It maintains a positive impression and keeps you potentially in their network for the future. Keep that network warm over time with occasional check-ins or relevant interactions on platforms like LinkedIn. Remember, pretty much everyone you meet during your job search process is a potential professional contact going forward.
That's really crucial advice. This whole follow-up piece, it's really about building your professional reputation even before you officially step into the role, isn't it? It's like an extension of the interview itself, and it truly pays off in fields like IS and IT, where connections and reputation are absolutely key.
Couldn't agree more. It's long-term thinking.
Wow. What a deep dive this has been. We've covered so much ground, from why salary negotiation is potentially $1 million skill, how to actually research your market worth using real data.
Right, and those psychological principles from Cialdini that can subtly guide your approach.
Yeah, and then the practical strategies for the negotiation conversation itself, how to handle it. And importantly, how to look beyond just the base salary, especially with all the unique aspects in the tech landscape.
Equity, remote work, all that.
Exactly. And critically, we just finished emphasizing the often overlooked power of really professional follow-up.
Which really raises an important question for everyone listening, doesn't it? How will you take these strategies, these insights, and apply them in your very next interview or your next offer discussion? The goal really is to approach every one of those opportunities with, genuine confidence, knowing the real value you bring to the table and knowing how to articulate that effectively.
Absolutely. We really hope this deep dive has given you some clarity and maybe boosted your confidence for your own career journey ahead. If you found it valuable, please take just a moment to share it with a friend, a classmate, a colleague who might benefit.
Yeah, pass it on.
And of course, don't forget to follow the deep dive wherever you get your audio so you don't miss out on more essential knowledge like this. Okay, now consider this as we wrap up. What's one specific, actionable step you'll take today or maybe this week to apply what you've learned? Maybe it's starting your salary research for a target role. Maybe it's drafting a better thank you note template. Just one thing. Remember, your career is a journey, and every step you take today builds the future you imagine. Keep learning, keep growing, and go make it happen.